Today, we are trying to combo off with Revel in Riches in Pioneer. Alright, so here is our Revel in Riches deck for Pioneer, and we're trying to do one thing, which is win with Revel in Riches. Revel in Riches, we gotta make it to our upkeep with 10 or more treasures, and we win the game. Also helps with the treasure production a little bit. If an opponent's creature died, we get the treasure. So initially, when I started working with Revel in Riches, I was playing pretty fair decks, like Mardu Treasures or Rakdos Treasures, where the idea was, play Kaelin or Wily Goblin or whatever random thing makes the treasure, maybe kill some of your opponent's stuff, and eventually, over the course of many turns, slowly build up treasures and win. But those decks weren't really that exciting, and they didn't actually really win with Revel in Riches. Like, they mostly didn't win at all, but if they did win, it was mostly by beating down with random creatures. So I figured we gotta go back to the drawing board. What we need is a deck that, rather than trying to make one treasure a turn for 10 turns to win with Revel in Riches, we need a deck that's gonna make 10 or more treasures in one turn, kind of a combo deck. And then I remembered we played this Smothering Tithe emergency powers deck in Standard many years ago, and it was actually a great way to make a ton of treasure. Smothering Tithe, when your opponent draws a card, they get a P2 or you get a treasure. Well, you can stick that, hopefully along with our Revel in Riches, and then when we cast emergency powers, that makes each player shuffle all their stuff in and draw 7, or commit to memory, each player shuffles their stuff and draws 7, we're making our opponent draw a ton of cards, which is going to give us a ton of treasures. Like, we cast emergency powers for 7, we get back 7 treasures, assuming our opponent's tapped out, which they should be if we're playing the deck the way we want to, or mostly tapped out. So we get 7 treasures back, so it's kind of free, and then we get to addendum to put something into play, like maybe another Smothering Tithe. And then once we have 2 Smothering Tithes, these cards start generating mana. We cast a memory for 6 mana, and we get 14 treasures, so we're making 8 mana. So when we just go through our deck like this, chaining these weird wheel effects together, until eventually we find Peer into the Abyss that we can target our opponent with to make them draw half their deck, which should give us 20-25 treasures, which should be enough to win on our upkeep with Revel in Riches. But we don't want to get blown out during our opponent's turn. The nightmare is we do all this, and we draw our opponent a new hand in half of their deck with Peer into the Abyss, and then we pass the turn, and they're like, oh, thank you, we'll just blow up your Revel in Riches, you did all that for nothing. So the last piece of the puzzle is Temporal Trespass to take an extra turn. So after we go through the huge wheel loop and make, a few hundred treasures, or probably not that many, but many treasures, then we just take an extra turn. Our opponent's still going to be tapped out from our big combo turn, and then we just go to our extra turn, go to our upkeep, and win the game with Revel in Riches. So that is what the deck's trying to do. For this to work, we need a couple of things. We need mana, much mana, because many of our cards are really expensive, so the Solstice just helps ramp us into our big stuff, and then we need to stay alive, and we have a ton of sweepers and removal, Farewell, Supreme Verdict, full playset of both to deal with our opponent's stuff. So the idea is in the early game, we just kill, wrath, kind of grind our opponent down, and then we start slamming our Smothering Tithes and our Revel in Riches, and then we get up to 7 mana, and we start chaining wheels together and have this crazy combo turn and win the game by surprise. Mana base, pretty straightforward stuff. Sideboard, a ton of counters, so if we run into control, we can take out all the sweepers, bring in all the counters, and that is Revel in Riches for Pioneer. That's our Against the Odds deck for this week, so let's jump into a Pioneer League and see if it's possible to pull off this combo. Can we actually have this huge wheelie, Smothering Tithe, Revel in Riches combo turn to win the game? We're gonna find out. Thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoy the gameplay, and I'll be back in a bit with a wrap-up. Today's video is brought to you by Card Kingdom. You can pick up all the Magic the Gathering cards you need and support the show, and even get a free MTGGoldfish sticker by heading over to cardkingdom.com/MTGGoldfish. Against the Odds time, we are mulliganing a one-lander with Revel in Riches and Pioneer. I guess we'll keep this. I'm not the biggest fan of this Temporal Trespass in hand, or the fact that we only have 2 lands. I do like that we have Celestis and some other than Revel in Riches. This has a lot of what we want. Whether or not we can actually... Alright, green, white, experiment 1. Well, we're gonna need to draw our sweepers, I guess, and lands to go. Oh no, not another Celestis, that's the worst. Oh, we have so many Wraths. Do we find the lands or do we find the Wraths? That is the only question about it. Appears to be a humans deck. This might be a problem because our opponent's probably gonna have a bunch of taxi Thalia-use type things. Gets in, hits us, land please. Untap. 7-drop. Oh, that's the worst feeling. Worst feeling when you want to land and you draw the most expensive card in your deck. About it. Getting in with the dork. Down to 18. We draw Hollowed Fountain. All right. Well, we got to do it the painful way, but we finally achieved a Celestis. See if it's fast enough to matter. Opponent untaps. Would have been really nice last turn with our opponent passing. Would have got the free loot and everything. Unclaimed territory on Human. Main phase Coco into something not good for us, I assume. Oh, the Thalia combo. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Very bad. So opponent gets to get in for 3, and this is looking sketchy. Land, maybe? Commit to memory. Can't be casted. Well, I mean, I guess we just loot. Oh, feels so bad. Loot. Discard. Oh, no. Still not a land. Yeah, now we're definitely dead. Well, no lands, no wraths. Those are the cards we want. Lands and the wraths to cast, wraths and the lands to cast them. Opponent pathway. And the black and white Thalia. I don't know. These cards just kind of disappoint me. The Thalia looks fine, but the black and white treatment just didn't really do much for me. And then the art was the same. Maybe some people liked them. And that's fine. Like, I like Wizards printing a lot of different versions of things because that looks like, yeah, that's death. We don't have the mana to cast a Wrath even if we draw it. I like Wizards printing a lot of different versions of things. So if you're going to print a lot of different versions, then some of them are not going to actually pay off. But I think that was definitely one of the flops, at least for me. For my taste, that was one of probably the lowest tier, maybe the lowest tier. All right, so we're keeping our Wraths. We'll go down Temporal Trespass. We'll go down Peer into the Abyss. We'll go down, like, look at all this removal. We have stacks of it, piles and piles of removal, which hopefully will be good against what our opponent's doing. Collected Company, I guess, is kind of annoying, but look at this pile. It's a big stack. Maybe we go down both trespasses. I feel like if we do our thing, we are not going to need the extra turn. We're probably going to have wrathed our opponent out of the game and then comboed. Well, I like this. We got a Wrath. We actually have 4 lands. We even have a Sunset Revelry. This hand looks really good. That is pretty much what we want against what our opponent's doing. Secluded Courtyard on Human and Thrabes. Good old Thraben Inspector. Well, Watery Grave tapped. Pass the turn. I guess we could have shocked ourselves in Sunset Revelry. Opponent, unclaimed territory. And Thalia's Lieutenant. Opponent gets in, hits us. Down to 18. Well, play an island, get down the Celestis. Next turn's probably going to be the Wrath turn. Well, we have enough mana here that we're in good shape mana-wise. I guess Apollo to get our Wrath would be a little annoying. Apollo to get our Wrath is a little annoying. I mean, that just slows us down quite a bit. We're going to have to wait 2 more turns to be able to Wrath. So opponent takes a Supreme Verdict. Hits us for a bunch. Down to 14. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We're just going to play the Smothering Tithe and the tap land. It's a bit greedy, but the upside of the mana is huge. And the upside of maybe being able to draw a wheel and just like try to combo a bit. Opponent, you paying the 2? No. All right, treasure achieved. The main frightening thing about being low on life against this deck was just the possibility of a Coco for lethal. It's a good way to avoid wraths if you're a creature deck, a humans deck. So we got the mana going. So now we need Revel and Riches in some sort of wheel effect. That is what we want for the combo kill. Okay, tap land. So we're not getting Coco this turn, at least. Opponent hits us for a bunch. We will take a bunch. Ooh, we get a free loot, which is nice. Oh, that's a good one for the future. Well, we're going to discard Isolated Chapel. Drown Catacombs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Supreme Verdict. Sweep the board. Pass the turn. Okay. Well, we get more treasures. Opponent sacks the clue. That's fine. And then next turn, we can Sunset Revelry. Oh, we're actually pretty close. If we needed emergency powers, we might be able to actually pull off the Revel and Ridges kill. It might be happening. We're super. Oh, when you get to this point where you got the mana and you got the Smothering Tithe, you're always like a draw away from just going off. Experiment 1. Thraben Inspector makes a clue. Well, this is good. It means no Coco, this turn at least. And Thalia's Lieutenant. Well, it might be farewell time. Farewell to the humans. All right, Celestis flips back around. So good. Fatal Push. I think we just discard the land. We have so much mana. Oh my god, another Smothering Tithe. Well, now I kind of regret discarding the land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Farewell. All creatures. And pass the turn. Opponent untaps. We get a clue. Or I wish it was a clue. A treasure. Treasure's still good. Like, treasure's our main game plan, but we could use card draw. Card draw is always good. Mantis Rider. And Werewolf Pack Leader. Well, yeah, we don't want to take damage off of this Mantis Rider. So we're going to kill the Mantis Rider. Opponent passes. Revel in Riches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we need to Sunset Revelry, for sure. There's no way we can draw a card off there, is it? If an opponent has more cards, yeah, that's not gonna happen. Now let's loot with Celestis, gain a life, discard a Revel, Sunset Revelry, pass the turn. Well, we're back up to 14. We just need to find basically the emergency powers. Oh, opponent's gonna try to pay, okay. Opponent pays this turn, plays a land. Oh, top deck's Coco. Oh, that's a bad draw for us. That's a really bad draw for us. Yeah, that is a nightmare. Oh no, hasty threats so I get to draw cards. Oh, well, we need to hit our combo pieces or a Wrath in like a turn. Opponent gets to get in, they get to draw a card. Yeah, that was a pretty nice hit of the Coco for our opponent. Well, we block here. Come on, deck. 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 Fateful Absence. Is it day or night? I want to cast one spell. So if we cast 2 spells, we get to flip it back around. 1, 2, 3, 4. Smothering Tithe. Can we get down Revel too? Oh, no, Revel's 7. All right, so play Smothering Tithe. Kill the Mantis Rider. We get to gain a life off the Celestis. Oh, we're getting close. We're up to 4 treasures, and we do have a Revel that is... we're not going to draw, but we go up to 12. Opponent, are you paying the price? If opponent doesn't pay, then I'm even more scared. If they don't pay, that's a pretty good sign that they do something good, and they need their mana. Okay, that looks like Coco mana. Okay, experiment 1, that's better than Coco. And Spellbinder, well... we're running out of time. We're running out of time. We got many treasures, but not lethal treasures. We gotta hit something like this turn. So we get 2 treasures. Because I don't think we can live, unless we draw something, I don't think we can live long enough. On the other hand, if we draw something like emergency powers, we probably can combo kill. Oh, it's all coming down to this. A Wrath would also be acceptable. Opponent, just a land. All right, Wrath or Wheel? Wrath or Wheel? That's what we need. Smothering Tithe, that's not gonna do it. Well, that means we need to loot, unfortunately. Celestis, day and night. Come on, lonely loner. Yeah, now we're dead, right? We're literally dead. 3, 6, 9, 11. Oh, so close. That was so close. We were gonna get to see, well, I guess, two cards deep. We needed the wheel. Oh my goodness, they were coming. We just couldn't find it. We couldn't find another Wrath out of our million Wraths, and we couldn't find any of the commit to memories of emergency powers. If we had drawn it, we were gonna just do so much. With 2 Smothering Ties, we get our Revel, we make a million treasures, we find a Wrath, we sweep the board, we win the game. Oh, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. That wasn't the one, but it is gonna happen, I swear. I swear it's gonna happen, because that was super close. Well, next time, I guess. Against the odds time, we are trying to pull off the Revel and Riches combo in Pioneer, and we'll see. It's gonna happen. We've been so close. Well, this game we're mostly leaning on this Farewell. Blood Crypt for our opponent, tapped. All right, well, there's Revel. That's not the worst. Halt the Storm Giants, you. Opponents got Jingatha as their companion. What does that mean? Young Pyromancer. Well, we do have a lot of Wraths, which should be good against Young Pizzy. We do need to get lands for them, though. Like, Farewell 6, that's a lot. Go into combat, gonna get in and hit us. Sure. Down to 18. And Karaxa. Well, I guess we're discarding one of our 2 Rebels. Downside is now our opponent knows what we're up to. Passes, we draw Fatal Push. Especially since we don't know when we're gonna draw Farewell mana. I think we definitely kill this Young Pyromancer. If we knew we were going to be wrathing next turn or something, we'd let it go. But at this point, we still need 3 turns at least and many lands before we can actually cast Farewell. Oh, Fable of Mirror Breaker. That's a good card. That was actually in my first attempt at Revel Riches, which was just a really fair treasury deck that was not actually that interesting. So then we switched to the way spicier build. Well, Agano. All right, we would really like to draw lands. Lands would be sweet. Opponent's gonna do some looting, perhaps. Pretty good with Kroxa. Discards a Fatal Push. Goes to combat. Well, we will commit the token. Village Rites, okay. I don't know what's going on in our opponent's deck. Opponent draws some cards. And more Kroxas. Well, I mean, we'll discard another Revel for now, unfortunately. Opponent. Land. Oh, Dreadhorde Arcanist. All right, so we drew a land, which is nice. Although this is a frightening position to be in, especially with that Den of the Bugbear that we can't actually deal with. Opponent gets to flip the Fable of the Mirror Breaker. And I can, like, flash back the Village Rites. It's possible we should have kept the Revel and discarded the emergency powers. Yeah, there's the Den of the Bugbear. Get rid of the Arcanist for the moment. All right, deck, give us something good. Give us something good. One thing I know about Pioneer is you don't get very good ramp for a deck like this. I guess this is very slightly better than nothing. I mean, we can't really let our opponent untap with a Kiki Jiki there. That's a good way to die. Opponent, gonna get a Kroxa. That's also a pretty good way to die. All right, Kroxa. Emergency powers discarded. Pathway and passes. Peer into the Abyss. Fair enough. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, Kroxa is pretty good. Pretty good. We'll bring in, I guess, the Sunset Revelries. Go down, Peer into the Abyss. Go down Temporal Trespass. And go down maybe like one Fateful Absence, try it like that. Smothering Tithe on the battlefield. Revel and Riches on the battlefield. Opponent had a lot of discard that game. I don't think playing the Revel and Riches would have changed things. Not enough stuff dying by the time we get it down. All right, well, we get to play first. I expect our opponent's gonna have 10 times the amount of discard now, which, that's gonna make things tricky. Well, I mean, we'll keep this. This has many cards that we want. Many of the cards that we want. We'll see how many of them get Thoughtseize, but Smothering Tithe, one of our most important cards. Celestis, that's actually pretty important because it ramps us into our big stuff. We'll give it a go. Opponent, Hive of the High Tyrant, and Thoughtseize. Dislikes fun, but that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, well, it's a bummer. Takes the Celestis. We draw a Supreme Verdict that might never be castable. We've drawn 2 of our 3 basics again, none of them planes. Opponent, Blood Crypt untapped, and, oh my god, it's a Kroxa. Sure, that's fine. We'll discard a Supreme Verdict. Many white sources away from casting that. Well, there's a Smothering. Do we ever draw the white source? Oh, if we had the Celestis, we would be casting Smothering Tithe this turn and we'd be in such good shape. So close, so close. Oh, I just want to see this deck go off. I want to see it go off. Opponent, Blood Crypt, untapped. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. That's my prediction. Do you have an opponent? All right, yeah. White mana, please. All right, we did draw white mana. We'll see if it matters. Wow, we've discarded 4 cards. That is a lot of cards to have to discard. 4 is a high number. Well, we got down a Smothering Tithe. We have officially made a treasure token. 1/10 of the way there, 10% to the Revel and Riches win. Oh, come on now. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? We've discarded 5 cards by turn 5? That's not fair. That's not fair at all. Opponent, I'm gonna start paying for our Smothering Tithe. Yeah, this would have been a good one. This would have been a good one if we had actually been able to cast the cards that, Just doing that for 3 damage? Okay. This would have been a good one if we had got hit by slightly less discard. Oh my goodness, we're so close. Revel and Riches. Go. I guess our opponent just wanted a card in the graveyard for future Kroxing. So what we need, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We need to draw the wheel. That is it. That is all. Opponent. Oh, geez. Kroxa hits us for 3. Okay. I mean, that's it. That's it. we got to draw the emergency powers. If we draw the emergency powers, there's a pretty good chance we can combo kill. If we don't draw the emergency powers, there's a very good chance that we're going to die next turn to Crocs and Hive of the Eye Tyrant. We're making treasures. We're up to 3. We got the Reveling Riches. We got the Smothering Tithe. We're close. Say a little prayer to the magic gods that we can hit. Come on, deck. You can do it. That's not the worst. Hilariously, that kind of hopefully works. Our opponent could have more graveyard hate, but they're going to pay, so they're not going for the win with Hive of the Eye Tyrant. So this is fine, because we get to put the Croxa on top of our opponent's deck, untap, wheel. This is assuming we don't get hit by graveyard hate, which would be very, very disappointing. Well, we will commit the Croxa. That's a good draw. Not quite emergency powers, but still, with this setup, that's very good. Opponent, please don't go Blankos again. Oh, get Shingatha, sure. All right, well, here we go. Oh, Temporal Test Press. 1, 2, 3, 6. We will memory. Oh, that wasn't the best, was it? Not exactly the best. Okay, well, we make a bunch of treasures, but we actually didn't draw into that much, and we're... Oh, hilarious. Okay, this is hilarious. So our opponent has to pay. If they don't pay, then we get the last treasure. So we've actually got to the point where this is actually, there's no choice here at the moment for our opponent. Oh my goodness, they scoop it up. It happened. I guess it kind of happened. That's a Revel win. That's a Revel and Riches win. That's a Revel and Riches win. Our opponent conceded before we got to do the full thing, but still, that counts. That counts. That is on the list as a win. Oh, so that wasn't the craziest combo, because we were going with commit to memory rather than emergency powers, which lets us put something into play for free. But still, I mean, it happened. It really, really actually happened. Oh my god. Through 5 discard spells. 5! And then that Croxa too. We had a Smothering Tithe. Well, had a Smothering Tithe. Until our opponent casts discard spell number 1. I mean, I assume they take Smothering Tithe. We'll see. I mean, they could have so many discard spells that it doesn't really matter. That makes me feel good to know it's possible to kind of. That was like a halfway win. That wasn't the full win, but it was close-ish. All the Storm Giants, go. Opponent. Number 2. All right, more discard. Sure. I mean, at this point, we're kind of expecting it. We know our opponent's deck is just overloaded with discard spells. Takes the Fateful Absence and a tap land. Well, So I think there was a slight punt here. We should have played Hallowed Fountain tap turn 1 and then this turn 2. So we cost ourselves 2 life. But we are going to play untap because we want the option to counter. Unlikely to really matter, but it's possible. All right, well, we will discard I guess, Jwari Disruption. Actually, you know what? Let's discard Emergency Powers. We're so far away from Emergency Powers. Well, there's a Revel. Watery Grave tapped. Pass the turn. Opponent. I mean, Revel into Supreme Verdict's kind of something. Opponents actually shouldn't be very good at killing Revel or Smothering Tithe. Like, they're Rakdos. They don't have that much, I wouldn't think, enchantment hate. Maybe like a Feed the Swarm, but not much. Well, since we drew the land, we'll just play Glacial Fortress. Ship the turn. Leave up the Jwari Disruption, which pretty soon isn't going to be doing much. Wow, opponent's going to draw. Draws down to 14. Well, I mean, we don't really have a way to pressure them other than this Hall of the Storm Giant, so makes sense. No. Oh! Not our Revel and Riches. I mean, maybe they take the Wrath and they just don't care about the Revel and Riches. That's possible. Yeah, all right, opponent takes the Wrath. Well, we are going to need to find a way to stop this Croxa. This Croxa is going to come back and potentially be really bad for oh my god, another one. Okay. Croxas for days. Well, we will discard the Jwari Disruption. Save a little bit of life. And a Fabled Passage. Well, Croxa's coming. Oh no, they have something else this turn. So Croxa's coming next turn. Can we find a way to stop it? Oh my golly gee. Well, that's depressing. Was not expecting triple Croxa turn. Well, play the land, play Revel in Riches, but we need to find some miraculous way to stop Croxa because Croxa's a ridiculously fast clock. Wow, so much discard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it makes it tough to do our thing when like we just had to discard so many cards. Yeah, Croxa hits. So I guess technically we have 2 turns. We draw. Well, okay, that's not the worst. Supreme Verdict, kill the Crocs to get a treasure. All right, so now our opponent's off it for a while because they need a bunch of cards in the graveyard. Or they'll top deck Stitcher's Supplier to get a bunch of cards in the graveyard. Well, now they're back to 1 card away. You know what we really want is the Farewell. The Farewell can get rid of the graveyard. Opponent. Gonna make some tokens. And fill, wow, and fills the graveyard. That's brutal. Opponent hits us. We draw Farewell. Oh my god, it is Farewell. A little bit awkward because we'd rather be killing things, but Farewell, all creatures, all graveyards. Not bad. Opponent does still have this Castle Lockway, so they're not like out of the game or anything, but that was the draw we wanted. The magic odds are coming through a little bit. Oh my goodness. Another Stitcher Supplier. Well, at least the Croxes are pretty much gone. 3 lands milled. Opponent gets Shingatha. Ungodly Shrine tapped. Pass the turn. Opponent. Shingatha passes. I don't play the land. Do we attack? Probably not, I guess. It's probably better to stay on defense. Yeah, let's stay on defense. Wanting to draw Wraths and definitely Smothering Ties. Oh, if we could have got that one down that was discarded, it would have been so sweet. I'm guessing our opponent can't have that much creature removal in their deck, if any. Young Pyromancer. Opponent's out of cards, gets draw with the Castle Lockway. So Wrath is the best draw. Passes. As Hall of the Storm Giant's going to keep us alive for the moment. I'll play the land past the turn. Opponents at 11 untaps. What do they find? Stitcher Supplier. They better not mill that last Croxa. All right, 2 Village Rites, Fable the Mirror Breaker, sure. And it's actually ended up being a really close game. Graveyard Trespasser. The scary part is opponents kind of just building a big enough board that they're going to be able to go around our Hall of the Storm Giant here very, very shortly. Opponent attacks. We actually want our opponent to make this attack. All right, opponent passes. Wrath? 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so we're going to pass. Gonna wait until next turn for Sunset Revelry. We're not dead this turn, although this thing does flip. Draws with Castle Lockway, down to 10. The problem with running out Sunset Revelry here is we don't have the mana to activate Hall of the Storm Giant, so if we do that, then we just end up gaining 4 and then chump blocking a ton. Opponent, gonna sack the blood, discard a land. Oh, we gotta find a Wrath soon. If we hit a Supreme Verdict, we actually get a lot of treasures. Opponent hits a go blank and makes a token, and there goes our Sunset Revelry. Well, I mean, I think this is it. I think we have 1 turn to draw a sweeper. Exactly 1 turn. We got a bunch in our deck. We'll see. Opponent goes to combat. This is assuming our opponent swings out, which they should. Yeah. Oh, so we've discarded so many cards. I think we've discarded more cards than we've played, honestly. So, Hall of the Storm Giants, fire it up. Kill the biggest thing, which is Shingatha, but really, when it comes down to it, it's Wrath or Bust. Wrath or Bust. We go to 2, we get a treasure token. Oh, all right, Magic Gods. One more time. One more. Not a land, something good. Not good enough. Not good enough. Boy, that was really, really close. I mean, the discard made it tricky. We didn't get the Smothering Tithe. We were very close to like stabilizing if we had hit 1 more Wrath, but didn't end up happening. Well, next time, Revel and Riches, next time. Against the odds time, we are trying to win with Revel and Riches in Pioneer, and we're probably gonna mulligan that hand. All right, this I like better. I like the Celestis. We still got a Farewell. We got a Revel and Riches this time. We definitely put Temporal Trespass to the bottom. We don't really want Temporal Trespass until we like combo off. Only downside is this hand could be a little slow. But I mean, this deck is a little slow. That's why I got all these Wraths to try to catch back up. We just have so many expensive cards. Oh dear, Control. Well, Control I expect is very tough in game 1. Games 2 and 3, we have a lot of sideboard cards we can bring in, a bunch of counters to take out our Wraths. But for now, game 1, pretty sketchy. Opponent Island and passes. A land, well, we draw Celestis. With 2 Celestis, we're definitely running 1 out. If it gets countered, well, at least we got a backup. All right, resolves. I mean, that's not bad. At least Celestis can loot away Wraths, which is something we'll probably try to take advantage of. Untap land. Oh, cute. Good game. Good game, well played. Oh, and do another Narset. Oh, I hate Narset. Narset is like, oh, I hate that card. It's just so not anything sweet. Well, we're going to play a Revel in Riches. Unsure how we're going to do anything with it. There's emergency powers, pretty bad with a Narset out. I mean, I guess our deck is pretty bad with a Narset out. We could have Hive of the Eye Tyrant to kill the Narset, but we know they have another one, so I don't even think that does much of anything. Opponent, Field of Ruin, takes down Narset, gets a counter, and passes, and discards to hand size. Okay, Celestis. We can't use it because Narset makes us sad. We draw Wrath, pass the turn. Well, heading into our matches, we knew that if we ran into control, it was going to be bad in game 1. And then we're hoping that when we take out all the bad cards, maybe in game 2 and game 3 we'll have a chance. But I think we're like pretty close to 0% to be blue-white control in game 1. About as close to that as you can be. Like, look at this hand. It is a hand that literally does nothing. We have 5 cards. And they all do nothing. Opponent. I mean, I guess the other option is our opponent is taking some time at weird, unnecessary places. So maybe we play for 50 minutes and our opponent times out. So opponent has awoke. And, well, maybe not. Nap time is back on. Opponent. I mean, our most realistic way to win in game 1 is probably creature lands, but that's going to be tough with Field of Ruins and also removal. Oh boy, opponents, the clock is a-running. Passes. Fateful Absence is good. That is a way to maybe kill a Planeswalker. We got to find a way through the counters, but going to Field of Ruin. Sure. We'll grab a Swamp. Opponent. Opponent plays a land and passes. Supreme Verdict. We have so many dead cards. Opponent adapts. Cycles the farmland. You know what? I think we're just going to concede. I honestly don't think we can beat this deck in game 1, and it just doesn't. It's not going to be an entertaining match. I don't think there's any point in it. Game 2 might be a little better because we get to bring in 7 counters, which helps. It's not the be all end all, definitely going to win, but being able to go down all the Supreme Verdicts, all the Farewells, and then all the fatal pushes for Leyline of the Voids. I mean, it's an improvement. It's definitely an improvement. We actually have ways to maybe stop our opponent from doing what they were doing, and we aren't just going to draw all dead cards. If you look at our deck now, it might not be good, but all of our cards technically do something, which was not true in game 1. We'll see how big of a difference this makes. Definitely an improvement. Is it enough of an improvement that we can actually win? This is probably not our best emergency powers, Revel in Riches, Smothering Tithe matchup. Although if we can stick a Smothering Tithe, that could do things. Like, that is pretty punishing. Oh, well, I mean, we're keeping it. Only 2 lands, and they're both basics, which makes me a little sketched out because of Field of Ruin. We only have 1 basic left in our deck, so that's frightening. But this does have a lot of cards we'd like to resolve. Drown Catacombs, yeah. Land is fine. We would take lands for the next several turns. About it. Olive Mountain untapped. And passes. Well, that's a land. So play the plains. This is good. So if our opponent plays Narset, we can kill it, untap Smothering Tithe. All right, cycle Shark Typhoon. I mean, the question is going to be, can we actually get any of our sweet, sweet pieces on the battlefield? Field of Ruin for our opponent. Hallowed Fountain untapped. Do we even do it? Do we even play it? They've already played one Jwari. Jwari Disruption. They can't cast Absorb. I mean, we gotta go for it. We can't just do nothing forever. So, wow, it resolved. Was not expecting that. Smothering Tithe down. Well, I'm glad we cast it. Opponent. Yeah, Field of Ruin. Last basic. So the next Field of Ruin is a literal strip mine. But I doubt our opponent's going to be able to pay the Smothering Tithe, which means we're going to be making mana in other ways. Wouldn't mind drawing some counters. That would be sweet. Opponent passes. Yeah, counters would be super good. 2 Smothering Tithes. That's a lot for a control deck to keep up with. Because our opponent deck also wants to draw cards. Opponent passes. Now, Glacial Fortress. And do we just play it? Let's just pass for now. We already got 1 Smothering Tithe. At some point, we're going to start looking for a window to emergency powers. Oh, they're going to answer it. March of Otherworldly Light. Yeah. There goes the Smothering Tithe. We need a counter so we can resolve these other pieces. Bounty Outlet. We got 7 counters in our deck. Will we ever draw them? That is the real question about it. Passing. Well, Watery Grave. Untapped. Revel Riches. Not as good without the Smothering Tithe. Opponent lets it go. Oh, come on, counter spells. Come on, counter spells. Well, it's going better than game 1. I don't know if it's going good, but it's going better than game 1. March of Otherworldly Light is annoying. That actually can kill our stuff. And, oh my god, Narset. Narset. Ticks down Narset 4. Well, so opponents got counters for days. We do not. Revel Riches, again. And, alright, well, we got a veto out of our opponent's hand. That's something. You know what, maybe we just gotta kill this Narset. I think we do. Alright, kill the Narset. Opponent gets a clue, which is good for them. Opponent taps Glacial Fortress. No, not another one. Oh, big Teferi. Pew. Okay. Well, I want to say I think we'd rather play against creature decks. Given the choice. If we have a choice, I think we would choose not blue-white control. And gonna draw and untap. Well, now if we even get down Smothering Tithe, Teferi can just bounce it. We had a sideboard plan, and at least we didn't draw a ton of rats this game, but we drew 0 sideboard cards. Like, our 7 counters didn't find a single one, which is kind of an issue. Those are the cards that might let us do some things. And then that March of Otherworldly Light to get rid of the Smothering Tithe, brutal. Opponent draws a card, goes into nap time mode. All right, opponent, unslumbered. Wait a minute. No, wait, another main phase stop. Yeah. So we made it to the second main phase. We are inching towards the end step here. Oh, wait, okay. Teferi trigger, end step. We've done it. I'm not sure how our blue-white control opponent plays at this pace and does not time out regularly. It's probably not going to matter in this matchup because it's so bad for us, but over the long haul, I imagine there's many timeouts happening. All right, Salastis on the stack. Opponent trying to decide if they'd like to spend one of their counters on it. The answer is no, so we will activate the Salastis to loot. Day becomes night. We gain a life. We draw and discard. We'll discard emergency powers. All right, we finally found a counter. Although, there's already a Teferi on the battlefield. Bonus, sacks the clue to draw a card. So we found a counter, but we might have found it just a tiny bit too late. This Teferi ultimating does kill us. All right, March Otherworldly Light again. Yup. Fight quieter, puppies. Opponent untaps. Bear's got a friend over today, and they're so loud. We draw land. We play a Smothering Tithe. Opponent. Oh, God. All right. Sure. We have those cards in our deck, too. They just came a tiny bit. Yeah, we're so done. Opponent, Castle Ardenvale. We're going to scoop here momentarily. We're not going to play for the timeout win. And this Teferi's about to ultimate. And we don't have a way to stop it from ultimating. And then that'll just exile all of our permanents. We know our opponent has a Mystical Dispute in hand, so there's still a counter. So I guess it's like draw Fateful Absence or lose. Alright, so play the land, pass the turn. We'll wait one more turn. Once the Teferi ultimates, then we'll scoop. Not feeling good about our chances here, though, with our opponent. Opponent's got 8 cards in hand, and they got a Teferi on 8 loyalty. We are kind of in the middle of nowhere. Sure, Dovin's veto. I don't even think any of our choices really matter. Passing. We untap. Is it Fateful Absence? Does it resolve? Is there a miracle in Blue-White Controlville? No. Temporal Trespass, and we will scoop it up. Yeah! I don't think that's a very good matchup for Revel Riches. For about a million different reasons. Ouch. Against the odds time, we are... Wow, this hand is... Oh. Well, if we live long enough to cast it all, it could be pretty good. Gonna have to draw some early game stuff, most likely, but, I mean, we got Revel. We have a bunch of redraws. We do need... Oh boy, Voldared Epicure. That's another Revel. So we're gonna need some of our sweepers, I think. Opponent. Also just lands. Salastis would be fine. Opponent plays a land and Priest of Forgotten Gods. Hits us for 1. All right, well, Celestus got to wait a turn, but that is a reasonable draw. That's a little extra mana. Still would like to draw lands, and we're still definitely going to need to draw a sweeper. In the not super distant future, Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Opponent gets in, hits us. Come on, deck. Come on, deck. Lands and sweepers. Lands. We got 8 sweepers. 8 sweepers in the deck. Oh, there's a land. 1, 2, 3. Celestus. Glacial Fortress. Well, if we draw a sweeper, we might have a shot, depending on what our opponent can do. We would prefer this Celestus to remain living. We don't really want emergency power till we get everything set up, because we're just refilling our opponent's hand as well. Cauldron Familiar, Priest of Forgotten Gods. Farewell would make me happy. That would be a good one. I mean, I guess we still need one more land, but opponent gets to do some ramping. One of the most expensive hands I've ever seen. So many combo pieces. Opponent goes to combat, gets in, makes a treasure. Down to 13. Well, we're gonna need something in the near future. We're just gonna get beaten down if we don't draw a sweeper. Witch's Oven. Stomping Grounds. Tapped. Blood Tithe Harvester. Alright, deck. This would be a good time to let us draw something. Okay. I mean, this does help. What if we don't cast it this turn? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, we're pretty low on life. It would be sweeter if we played Revel first. Is it worth the risk of literally dying? You know what? I think we're gonna do it. No fear! No fear in Revel and Riches land. So the problem with just wrathing here is we can just wrath, but then our opponent's gonna flip this Fable of the Mirror Breaker, and then they get back the Cauldron Familiar, and they're still gonna have threats. So we save ourselves a bunch of life up front, but we don't really get rid of everything. This line, it's gonna cost us a lot of life, and it might lead to us dying, but it is the highest upside, because we're gonna be able to make a bunch of treasures when we wrath, which is pretty helpful. And if our opponent keeps doing these sacrifice synergies, those are also going to give us treasures. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. It's definitely scary. Down to 12. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, we're going to be super low. We're going to be super low on life. We're not dead, but we're going to be super low on life. Opponent flips the Reflection. And we don't really have life gain in the main deck. We have some in the sideboard, but not in the main deck. Opponent goes to combat. Big attack, treasure. Okay, this is probably good. That is 1 fewer point of damage from this Priest of Forgotten God. So we go to 5 with the cat still out. Opponent. Oh god. Okay. That's what we want to not see. That is precisely what we want to not see. All right, so opponent, Witch's Oven, cat, treasure. Oni God Anvil, ping, yacht, cat, blah, blah, blah. Down to 4. Oh, so we're probably just dying to the cats anyway. So close. We're actually going to be very close to enough treasures from this. Well, there now. Oh my goodness, down to 3. All these little pings. All these little pings are adding up. Yeah, the wrath doesn't do it. Like, we're just dead next turn no matter what. Little too slow. No Smothering Tithe. Opponent. All right, gonna use every bit of mana possible. Going to discard a Blood Tithe Harvester. So I guess the way we could live is exactly Farewell. We got a top deck exactly Farewell right now. Oh, opponent. I'll just let us scoop, opponent. I don't know why you're doing this. What could you possibly draw that's going to change what is happening here? Okay. All right, another Voldaren Epic here. So we dropped to 3. Opponent did all this and it's still not lethal though. Like, opponent did all these shenanigans and it does not lead to lethal. So it all really didn't do anything. We're still dead in 2 turns, still not dead right now. We untap, we draw, Commit to Memory. Very good card, but not quite enough to stop the cat. That's the issue. So we can Wrath, but then we still just die. And we don't have anything we can draw into. The Wrath is a ritual. I mean, we're gonna do it, but I don't think this matters. So we Supreme Verdict, because there's no way we can stop the cat, right? We don't have enough mana to do it first. All right, Supreme Verdict. Okay, what we can do, and I still don't think this is gonna do it, we Supreme Verdict, we get a bunch of treasures. Opponent's gonna sack and ping. This actually kind of helps us because we get a treasure earlier. Still doesn't do it though, does it? Because there's also the Oni called Anvil. Yeah, so it doesn't really matter. So Supreme Verdict, go to 1. We make a bunch of treasures. And then, I mean, I guess we just emergency power. If we had found Smothering Tithe, I think we could have comboed off. Do we even do this? Do we want to show our opponent what we're doing? You know what? Let's have some fun. Why not? Emergency powers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nothing in the graveyard. I'll put Smothering Tithe into play. 1, 2, 3, 4. Commit to memory. Get rid of the anvil for now. Play the tap land. Go. Wow, we were so close. If we could untap with what we have now, we win. Not only do we win, oh my goodness, we do ridiculously sweet things. Opponent, gonna let it go. Well, we did deal with our opponent's entire board, so if their 7 cards are all lands, we're back in business. Unlikely, but not impossible. Opponent needs any point of damage. Mayhem Devil, that is any point of damage. Well, okay. Bad news, we didn't do it. We didn't do it, obviously. Good news is, that was really close. That was really close, and we didn't have that good of a hand. And now we get to bring in Sunset Revelries and Ley Lines of the Void. Go down a Temporal Trespass. Go down a Temporal Trespass. I don't think we need to worry about the extra turn part of the combo against this deck, because when we go off, we're going to go off to such a big extent that I think we'll just win the following turn no matter what. Go down 1 Fatal Push. Go down 1 Supreme Verdict. Oh my goodness, it's going to be hard to find room for this. Maybe we got to go 3 Ley Lines? Cut a Celestis? A Commit to Memory? Oh, that's only 6 wheels. Is that enough? Oh, we might need the Commit to Memory. What else can we cut? You know what? We'll go down 1 more Celestis. That's fine. So the big card here is Farewell. Farewell is that is a blowout. That is a card that just buys us a ridiculous amount of time to get things set up. We get to play first. Well, all right, we got a Farewell. We will keep. None of our combo pieces, no Revel, no Smothering Tithe, but assuming we don't get Thoughtseize, this Farewell is a really nice catch-up card, and the Sunset Revelry could also buy us a bit of time. Well, Godless Shrine, tapped, go. Opponent. And the only awkward part about this is we really don't want emergency powers after sweeping our opponent's board that much. Voldaren, Epicure. Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Go. Opponent adapts. Goes to combat. Another pump fake. Opponent is the pump fake master. Hits us down to 18. Priest of Forgotten Gods. I guess we don't really have to kill that yet. Glacial Fortress. Go. Would love to find a Smothering Tithe. That would help a bit. Now they Thoughtseize. Well, this means we do have to Fatal Push. Yeah, it's a bummer, because there goes our Farewell, which would have been super helpful here. Yeah. Alright, wow, takes the Ley Line, interesting. Wasn't expecting that. Discards a Cauldron Familiar. Hey, Ruckus! What are you doing, Ruckus? Oh my, Ruckus, are you alive? Alright, so, well, Hallowed Fountain tapped. Pass the turn. Our opponent's managing to stay exactly in the position where we can't really Sunset Revelry for full value. Opponent gets in, thanks to Thoughtseizes and whatnot. Hits us, passes. Emergency powers, not the best draw. Ship the turn, opponent adapts, and tap land, and hits us down to 15. And Cinder Vines, pretty annoying. Opponent passes. Well, we will Sunset Revelry, get pinged, make some tokens, gain some life. Godless Shrine tapped, pass the turn. I mean, Farewell does still deal with it. Well, now we're looking for Smothering Tithe and Revel Riches. Those are the payoffs that we need to actually combo off and win. Opponent getting in there. Well, we might as well block. Okay, opponent had Deadly Dispute, sacks, draws. Plays a land, passes with their Smothering Tithe, We can't play it while the Cinder Vines is out, though, so we're gonna have to Farewell first, I guess. We gotta Farewell first to get rid of the Cinder Vines, and then we can Smothering Tithe, and then we can Emergency Powers to hopefully find a Revel and Riches for the win. Well, get in and hit ya. Or maybe we just attack with human tokens and our opponent dies. Not impossible. Unlikely. Would be nice to draw another land at some point. Opponent, more Cinder Vines, and passes. More Smothering Ties. Wow, if we ever get to resolve this Farewell, we're suddenly in really interesting shape. We're almost to the point where I'm considering Fateful Absence on one of our own tokens to make a clue and sack it to draw a card. Opponent, Oni God Anvil. Sacks a treasure, pings and makes a token. I mean, I think we actually have to do it. So awkward, but opponent, land. I mean, we're just so set up to go off if we can draw land. So we're going to Fateful Absence a token, take 2. Yeah. Sack the clue to draw a card. It's a land. Untap and another land. So Isolated Chapel. Go to combat, attack, yeah. And then we get to say farewell to all of these problems. Get all artifacts, enchantments, and graveyards. Graveyards, enchantments, artifacts. Seems good. All right, so we got to take 2. So we dropped to 13, but we get rid of both Cinder Vines. We get rid of the Oni Called Anvil. We get rid of the cat in the graveyard. And now we can start playing Smothering Ties and perhaps combo off and win the... Oh, come on now! Ah! Okay, I mean, we won, which I guess is good. Like, winning is fine, but that's not what we were trying to do. We weren't trying to just win. We want to combo off and win with Revel and opponent. Opponent seemed very scared of this ley line, to the point where I think maybe we bring in another one and go down. You know what? We'll go down one more commit to memory. Are the Fatal Pushes even worth it? They're not that aggro. Let's go up another Celestis, run it like that. We would have done it if and maybe that'll be an issue we have with this deck is maybe we won't actually get to see it go off because our opponents are going to scoop if we deal with their board. Because that's exactly what happened there. Pathway. Cauldron Familia. Okay. Oh, that is the worst feeling. The drawing of the Ley Line of the Void, the turn after that is the most brutal. If you draw it on like turn 5, who cares? But if you draw it on turn 2, you're like, if it was only 1 card higher, we would have had it for free, and it would have been good, because there's a cat in an oven. Well, we will play Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Opponent kept a 1-lander, but they kept a 1-lander with Cat Oven. Revel and Riches is just kind of naturally good against this, but, well, we'll see. Opponent does cat stuff, goes to combat, going to hit us, down to 16, and... Thought seizes the Ley Line of the Void, I'm sure. I mean, if our opponent just doesn't draw land, Smothering Tithe Emergency Powers might actually just be enough. All right, takes a Ley Line. Oh, there's a Revel too. Godless Shrine tapped. All right, I mean, we got a plan. Smothering Tithe into Smothering Tithe. We are getting drained, so we're going to need to find something at some point. But our opponent, there's no way they're paying for these Smothering Ties. Gets back the cat, down to 15. Goes to combat. Hits us. Well, here comes the treasures. And treasures lead to happy fun times. About it. Another cat. Thankfully, only 1 oven. Well, play the land. Play Smothering Tithe. Pass the turn. So we start to make treasures. Yup. Opponent does cat stuff. Untaps. Down to 12. We get a treasure. Oh, is it going to be fast enough? Opponent, what do they find? Ooh, okay, there's a land. That's a big draw. That's a big draw, land number 2. Gets and hits us down to 10. So we are kind of dying. Opponent passes. Well, Drown Catacombs. Revel and Riches. Opponent sacks a cat. Yeah, gets the food. Gets back the cat. Drains us down to 9. And then sacks a cat. Sure. So opponent makes treasures. We make treasures. I mean, I guess it's going to come down to what does our opponent draw here? Kill the cat. So no clock on board. Get a treasure. There's hope. We would like to avoid a Thoughtseize, because we really want those emergency powers to resolve. Like, that is kind of our whole game plan. Opponent, not going to be able to pay the tax, I don't think. All right, this is it. Did they find a Thoughtseize? If we untap here, it's going to be a sweet turn. Opponent, land. Oni Called Anvil. Not a Thoughtseize. Is this a Thoughtseize? Sacks for mana. Oni Called Anvil. Okay. No Thoughtseize. Sacks for a treasure, so we can get back a cat. We get a treasure. Oh, if we draw a land, we get to get down both Smothering Ties, which is absurd. All right, well, this is it. Oh, it's a tap land. All right, so we will play Hall of the Storm Giants. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so play... Actually, I don't even know if we play Hall of the Storm Giants. We might want to untap land. I mean, we gotta go. We gotta go. We'll see if it's enough. See what we draw into. 5, 6, 7. Emergency powers. Oh, if only we could get down this other tithe. But this is still good. This is still good. Emergency powers. Shovel them in. Everyone draws 7. Opponent's going to get back a cat. Goes up to 25. That's not the worst. That's not the worst at all. We'll put the land into play. Actually, do we want it untapped? Untapped. down to 6 temporarily. But things are about to get better because we have these Smothering Tithes going. So we make a bunch of treasures and we got another emergency power. So we get to do that again. But first, we're going to gain a little bit of life. Okay, so we get all the treasures. Up to 10, but I don't think we can just pass yet with our opponent with a full hand. So we need to play Sunset Revelry. Full value, life, tokens, card draw even. Wait, why did we not draw a card? Shouldn't we have drawn a card there? Sunset Revelry. Play the land. Emergency powers part 2. Spin it to win it. Do it again. Okay. Emergency powers. So we're back up to 14. We will put a Reveling Riches on the battlefield. We will make a bunch of treasures. Okay. I mean, this was a good turn cycle. We are close. We are really close. With 2 Reveling Riches. And now we will just pass the turn. 8 treasures. We're 2 turns away from winning. Opponent untaps. Are they gonna pay? Oh my god. Oh, we're so close. We're 1 treasure short. We actually might be doing it. Are we winning with Reveling Riches? That was a combo. We got back up to 14. Opponent has a handful of cards, but we have double Reveling Riches. And Smothering Tithe. Opponent land. Another anvil, sure. Opponent, if they attack, they die. Opponent attacks. I mean, that's game, right? Block, block. 4 more treasures. Do we do it? Do we really actually do it? Yeah, this isn't gonna do what our opponent wants. We get treasures. We get treasures for days. We get treasures for days. It's a combo kill. It happened. It happened. We did it. We Revel Richard won. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, that's 10. That's 11. That's 13. That is more than enough. With 2 Reveling Riches, opponents only got 2 mana. There's no way. There's no way they're getting out of this. Oh my god, we did it. We did it. Yes. Yes. Reveling Riches. Opponent, sure, get that cat back. Get that cat back, friend. Go all the way. I think our opponent's just doing all the little things because they know. Yeah. Oh. Reveling Riches. It worked. It worked. We had the big combo turn and it worked. Oh my goodness. When the deck goes off, it's so sweet. Sweet, 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 sweet. Against the odds time. Oh my god, that's a lot of farewells. We are trying to win with Reveling Riches in Pioneer. And we'll see. I mean, we got the Smothering Tithe, which is nice. If our opponent's a creature deck, oh, look out. As long as we hit our mana, we got sweepers for days. If our opponent's playing blue-white control, we scoop. Oh my god, another Smothering Tithe. I really want to get down these Smothering Tithes. We need lands. We need lands. We need lands for the Smothering Tithes and also for our Infinite Wrath, Blood Tithe Harvester. Yeah, that's a land. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. Pass the turn. All right. Hopefully the Smothering Tithes get us to the farewells, and hopefully the farewells make our opponent very sad, and hopefully we find Reveling Riches and we win. Opponent gets and hits us down to 17. Aussies. Sorry, opponent. I'm sorry, friend. I am sorry. I apologize for this hand. Oh, opponent takes the supreme verdict. Okay. They can't try to pay for Smothering Tithe, right? They definitely can't pay for 2 Smothering Tithes. Gonna sack the blood, discard, try to find a land. Well, I mean, basically the only real question is, do we get to these farewells in time? Also, we're getting to the point where we're going to want stuff to combo with the Smothering Tithe. I can't imagine our opponent can pay for this. I mean, I guess our opponent could draw a ton of Thought Seizes. Opponent gets and hits us. If they draw a ton of Thought Seizes, they can maybe take all the farewells or other discard. Next step, Smothering Tithe number 2. Blood token sacking, probably not going to be great with Smothering Tithe out. I mean, I kind of like where we're at. Opponent, Graveyard Trespasser. Sure. Oh, oh my god. All right. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Smothering Tithe. Play the land. Oh god. Okay. We drew the emergency powers too. That might mean we get to try to combo next turn if our opponent doesn't find discard. Opponent not gonna even bother to try to pay the tithe. Well, they need a Thought Seize. They have to take this emergency powers. If our opponent doesn't take this emergency powers, odds of us winning are pretty high. Odds of us winning like immediately. Opponent. Caraxa. We'll discard a farewell. We are down to 8. Opponent passes. All right. It is fun time. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, we could whiff. It's not impossible that we whiff on a draw 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. emergency powers. We'd have to whiff really hard though. So we get 14 treasures, double our mana, new hand, addendum something into play. Okay, that's great. We'll put the Celestis into play. We will get 14 treasures. Oh boy, this is getting better and better. All right, now we get to play the Smothering Tithe. I guess we should have put a land into play because we can cast the Celestis. That might have been a small mistake. I mean, it doesn't really matter at this point. All right, so play a land. Smothering Tithe number 3. Emergency powers, 21 treasures. Oh, this is where the deck's so sweet. Emergency powers number 2, let's do that again. All right, land into play. Tapped, 21 treasures. So our opponent shouldn't be able to kill us here, right? I don't think they can kill us. So now we're going to peer into the abyss ourselves this time to make sure we find the rest of our pieces. Peer into the abyss. Okay, so it's a lot of lands. All right, so there's emergency powers. So we will, oh, we didn't hit an extra turn, did we? Huh, we're down to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Smothering Tithe number 4. Revel in Riches. This is a pretty sweet turn. Revel in Riches. And then we Fatal Push the Dork. Discard. Get another treasure. Many more treasures. Fatal Push. We just need to find an extra turn. That's all we need. Blood Tithe Harvester. Get a treasure. Is there anything else we can do here that's worthwhile? All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Aftermath memory. Make a lot of treasures. And they're temporal trespass. All right, we got them. We did it. We did it. Yes! Oh, that is just how we drew it up. That is just how we drew it up. So we make all these treasures, an opponent scoops it up. I mean, we're gonna just take the extra turn and win on our upkeep. Anyway, opponent tired of sitting through it, can't blame him. Yeah, there we go. That was a good one. That was a good one. So what did we learn this week about Revel in Riches and Pioneer? And of course that last match, cut it off after game 1. The last 2 games went how most of our games against Rakdos go in games 2 or game 3, which is our opponent brings in a ridiculous amount of discard. And because our deck has so many expensive cards, we just are dressed in thought seizes and go blanked into submission before we actually get to do anything, which I think is a solvable problem. One of the challenges I noticed building this deck is Pioneer has gotten so diverse that it's difficult to build a sideboard that can answer everything, especially with a deck like this, where we really need a ton of control cards in the sideboard because we have so many bad against control cards in the main deck, but that's a real challenge. But one card I think would be so helpful in the sideboard, and I'm planning to find room for maybe cutting like, I don't know, the Damping Sphere. We didn't play against any of the Damping Sphere matchups. Maybe we can trim back on Leyline of the Void a little bit, but I really want Leyline of Sanctity. I think Leyline of Sanctity would greatly change the Rakdos matchup in game 2 or game 3, because we crush that deck. Our farewells are good. They can't really stop our combo. The one way they interact is by just hitting us with a ton of discard, and Leyline would stop that. So that's a suggestion to keep in mind. Finding room for Leyline in the sideboard, because we played altogether 6 matches with the deck, and we only went 1-5. So overall record, not that good. But we played against Rakdos, I think 4 times, various versions of Rakdos or Jund, Sacrifice, Midrange, Pyromancer, Arcanist. So it's a really popular archetype, especially if you add all those things together, and their sideboard point is very similar. So I think that would really help improve that matchup. But overall, the deck, I mean, it's hilarious when it goes off. As far as winning, it doesn't win super consistently, so I wouldn't take this one to, you know, the next Pro Tour qualifier or whatever. But when it goes off, as we got to see in that last match, we finally got the full combo. We had some, like, mini combos along the way, but that last one was the dream, where we ended up with all 4 Smothering Tithes, and we went through our entire deck, and we peered into the abyss to draw half of our deck, and we're gonna end with the Temporal Test Press for the extra turn for the win on our upkeep if our opponent hadn't scooped after we did all that. So when it goes off, it is spectacular and super fun. So I really like the deck. I think it's way more interesting, way more fun than just like play a bunch of Wily Goblins and try to build up treasures slowly. At least this deck does really sweet things when it goes off, and then when it doesn't go off, you just kind of do nothing and go on to the next game. So anyway, that's Revel in Riches and Pioneer. That's been Eric Gets the Odds for this week. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.